The following program is rated TVMA. This program contains topics and viewpoints from metaphysical professionals. Topics, conversations, insights, and experiences are meant for a mature adult audience and may not be suitable for younger viewers. All insights, experiences, and conversations contained in this show are meant as informational. Always consult either legal or medical professionals when needed. Viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to Terra Turas, the Metaphysical Roundtable. 5 professional readers coming together, including Brenda Lynn, Heather Lynn, Jamie Gibson, Reverend Pat Beers, Michael, and most importantly, you, the audience. Walk with us as we cover different aspects of the metaphysical and spiritual sides of life. Bring together our insight, experience, and discussion to a roundtable event. And now, here is tonight's host. For younger viewers. Evening, everybody. I know everybody is out there. It's one of those evenings where it's not a technical difficulty. It's like everybody's lagging behind in just a few minutes. Here is tonight's host, Brenda. Brenda, how you doing this evening?
You're muted.
Yeah, you're muted, Michael.
Everybody's unmuted. See, I unmuted, I pressed unmute, and everybody got unmuted except me. I swear.
Welcome. He makes me not feel bad, guys.
I did. There's this big unmute all button right on the bottom. And I clicked it. And I'm talking, and I can hear myself. And you guys are just sitting there looking at me like I'm nuts.
Well,
Brenda?
you told us about muting us before it started. Payback.
Go ahead, take it away, Brenda.
All righty. Welcome to Terra Turas, a.k.a. Earth Journey, as it translates in Irish. My name is Brenda Lynn, and I will be your host tonight. Heather Lynn is out. She can't join us. She's a little under the weather. We come to you live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So just want to introduce our panel members here. We have Michael, Reverend Pat Beers.
Hi.
And Jamie Gibson.
Hi.
Hey. So tonight is our final and third and final episode of our trilogy, our New Year's trilogy. So the first time we talked about clearing energy out. Last week we talked about setting intentions. And this week, we're going to wrap it up with manifesting. So we are going to get right to it. So I'm going to start tonight with Jamie. What do you got for us on manifestation, Jamie? How do you use it? What do you do?
A little more time. Manifestation. Okay. Well, honestly, for me, going through this whole trilogy thing, it's hard for me to do it in steps like we have been doing, because naturally I do all 3 almost simultaneously. So what I'm going to say tonight kind of is a repetition of the last 2 weeks, because the way I handle it is, the biggest part of manifestation is the intention part, having that clarity. That's where everything goes. So when I play with manifestation, I do a bunch of different things. One thing I do is just try to pretend like it's already here and feel it. Feelings are a huge part of manifestation. I mean, it's probably the key to manifestation that nobody really talks about. They talk about praying and saying affirmations and all this kind of stuff. But the real key is, how do you feel about it, is if it's already here, because that makes you the lighthouse in the foggy storm for the things to come to you. So you can do different things, like you can write the perfect scene of your movie, or you can go into gratitude. Another thing I do is the more I can write every night, some like 4 or 5 things every night of what I was grateful for in my life that day or what's coming. All of those things open you up. It's kind of like you got to open yourself up instead of just stand there and hope and pray it comes to you. You got to be open for it, not just in your mind. So that's pretty much what I do. It's manifestation for me is just feelings, but that's probably because I'm an empath too. Who knows? Yeah. But that's where I kind of counsel my clients and things to go to, is into the feeling. How does it feel? Don't talk about the relationship that you want with somebody's face on it. Talk about how you want to feel when you're in the relationship, what you want to feel like, not what he or she is doing, but what you want to do. You want to have someone who's got your back, who makes you laugh, who gives you butterflies. And while you're listing all those things out, feel it like it's actually here, and get excited like a little kid waiting for Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. Right. That's pretty much my little magical piece to it.
That's awesome. It's like dropping into your heart space.
Yeah. Feelings are the key to everything, because feelings, it doesn't matter if you speak English, Spanish, French, whatever. Feeling is the same for every single person all the way across. And that's the language of the universe.
Awesome. That's excellent. Reverend Pat Beers.
Yes, Miss Brenda Lynn.
What do you have for us on manifesting?
Well,
how does that work for you?
Every day I talk about the prayer of Jabez, or Jabez, Jabez.
Oh, yes, I'm familiar.
From First Chronicles in the Bible, chapter 4, verses 9 and 10. All 500 begets and begots that you can't pronounce. I have been saying that every day, at least once a day, for 7 years. And I'm like Jamie, I put it into my heart. I was and the biggest discussion I have with most of my clients is, well, I don't know. I don't know if I should have that. And if you're going to say that, you may not, don't even start. And with the secret, the visualization, I don't ask for the perfect whatever. Like, I needed a new car last year, and I said, I wanted a Honda. I wanted under 100,000 miles. I didn't care what color it was. I wanted power steering and AC. Anything else I got, extras. I got the heated seats and all that good stuff. So I just have to be willing to, some people, when they're trying to manifest, want to manifest that car's got to be blue. It's got to have a white interior. I'm looking for the main things. And then everything else is a fill-in. And I could just something that I can work with. I'm going to tell you guys a story. I had to cash out my husband's retirement last year because the bank and I were having a discussion about, they didn't think I lived here because I got royalties from gas and stuff down in West Virginia, sometimes $15, sometimes $150. They thought I was renting my house. And I said, don't you think if I were renting it, I would be paying, I would be a little more income, like $700, $800, $900 a month. And so I cashed in my husband's retirement. Well, with that comes the tax bite. Well, guess what? The tax bills do. And I'm like, oh, Lord. Okay, if I spread it out over these credit, I can do it if I do this. I picked up my stuff from the accountant. Today's Wednesday, Monday. They took it out. It's already there. And they told me they wouldn't take it out, that I had to pay it personally. And to me, that's a manifestation. I don't have that sort of glamour keys hanging over my head anymore. And I just give thanks every day for all the things that I should have that are right for me. And I'm just so excited. So I had to pay a very small with my money that I would have gotten back. And I only had to pay a very small bill. And I'm like, I was sweating bullets, guys. You know what it's like when you're like, eh. Yep. That's just one of them. That's just one of the big things that happened to me, because I also had to buy new tires this week. And they told me they were, I didn't realize like Lexus cars, I guess the tires for them were like $400. I'm driving a Honda, folks. And I have never bought such expensive tires as I had to buy, like almost $800. But it's okay. I can do it now because I don't have that big tax bill hanging on my head. I can rob Peter and pay Paul and make this work. So that's how it works for me. The visualization, I used to do vision boards a lot. Now I put them in like a photo album or a composition book. I'll put them in there. And Jeremy Nestor Hicks having the wish box or the dream box doing it's so funny when I take those out and I look at them, I'm like, oh my gosh, so it does work. And it's just I'm like Jamie, I got to accept it in my heart and know that it's okay to have it, because so many of us are talking, oh, that's selfish. Why would you want to do that? And that's the biggest lesson I think I had to learn. I was asking, giving thanks for having received, and then just being willing to have it happen. That makes sense?
Yeah. And when I very good too, two things I always say, I forgot. Two things I always say is this or something better. And I'm open to being happy however it looks. However it looks, I'm open to it. So it just kind of gets you out of the way so that you can have those things come in for you. Which I think you did that, Pat. You kind of did that with the money situation. You kind of got out of your way with it.
I did. I got into that fear mode, false energy appearing real. I was just so sure. I'm like, I had a good portion set aside, but it's like, holy cow, what am I going to do? So if you just say, okay, guys, I give it to you. If this is what I'm supposed to be doing, or it's supposed to work out, I need a little help down here.
Yeah, that's interesting because, I think it was last week when we were talking about intentions, Jamie, you were talking about being real specific. And Pat is talking about being real flexible. I do that thing that you were saying, Jamie, where it's this or something better, or that feeling I had in this relationship or something better. Without attaching the face to it. Yeah. And I do struggle sometimes with, how specific do I get? When I did a vision board years ago, this is a long-term vision board, and I had one that was about spirituality and self-expression, and I had another one that was more along the lines of health and lifestyle. And I created that. I think I mentioned this. I created that when I was in Florida before I moved to Texas the first time. By the time I left Texas in 6 years, every single thing had been manifested, including the happy cows. And I'm back to the happy cows. I just posted a picture, I think yesterday, with my happy cows. They're not mine, but still, they're right here out my window. So I actually achieved it specifically, all of those things. Yeah.
They tell me that's like having grandchildren, which I do not have. You spoil them rotten and send them home and let the parents deal with it. So you have your happy cows, but you don't have to take care of them.
Brenda now has the office with the view of the river.
Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, the river and the cows. Yeah. And I'm just noticing, just as an aside, Pat, my glasses tonight match your hair.
Well, good girl. I finally got you over to my side.
I'm looking at the panel here, and there we are. All kinds of purple.
See, I knew I'd get her.
So, Michael.
Oh, you would pick me, wouldn't you?
Talk to us about manifesting. I know you can manifest toilet scrubbers.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Toilet wands. Not just scrubbers, wands. Wave that wand in there and make that whole thing clean. Absolutely.
Other than toilet wands.
I'm going to get a little bit long-winded.
That's all right.
Uh-oh.
I'm very much like Jamie. And I think we all are, to a point where everything wraps together almost in a flow. And talking about it from one week to the next, we can break things down and talk about a given subject, and yet at the very same time, it is a flow, a natural flow, a natural rhythm to how things are really going. And so when I tell people, and I start all just like Jamie, you got to start all the way back at the beginning and clear all the energy out that was there, because you don't want to build on top of something that's not good or not real clean. And once you do that, then you get into beginning to set your intentions, what you really want. And I find that a lot of people have difficulty trying to piece together what they really want. And they think they might want the money to be able to pay the bills and to do these things. But unfortunately, that falls into a mindset of lack of things in life. And we all know that life is nothing but abundance all the way around. And we are allowed to have that abundance. And people think that they're either not allowed, not worthy, not something. So I tell them, look, don't think just of money. Think of something big. And oftentimes I will find people that go, I don't believe that's true. No, it is true. And I try to cite some examples for people, or get them to read some of the other things that many authors have already written about. And what I found is that we can do almost like a 3-step process. Is I get people to write down, what do they want to be, what do they want to do, and what do they want to have. And that, believe it or not, came from a book written by James Arthur Ray in The Science of Success, because he helps people find and pinpoint. So you take a few minutes and you write down all the things that you might want to be. And it doesn't matter how ludicrous, how far out. You want to be a rocket scientist, it doesn't matter. And then you put all the things that you want to do. Do you want to travel? Do you want to do whatever you want to do? And what do you want to have? And once you have these 3 lists, go back and categorize them. Out of all this list, if I could have 3 items that I would list as A, what 3 things would I want out of all the things that I want to be? And the same thing for the other 2. So they have this list now of 3 things. And out of those 3 things, what's the number 1 out of those 3? If you could only have 1, what would you want to be out of those 3? And when we're done, we have an exact list, or a very good representation of what we want to be, what we want to do, and what we want to have. And I tell people, don't throw that away ever, because now you automatically have the second thing and the third thing that you really want to achieve in life at this moment. So we get that done. And then, just like Jamie said, you've got to start to build this feeling, number 1, that you're allowed to have it, that it is going to happen. Become very happy about it. Understanding that, yes, this is actually going to come, and it's going to park itself in your life. That's more of the intention, the feeling. And you've got to believe it. And I think Pat had said that, you've got vision boards that you can put up. Brenda, I know, had spoken about vision boards before, to where she had taken and plastered things on her vision board.
Walls.
And I remember one time, Brenda, you had told me that it looked so outlandish that people would look at it and say, there is no way in hell that could actually come true. And yet, I believe it was a 3-year mark. You went back and looked at that vision board, and every single thing had happened.
Yep.
And damn near exactly like the picture or what she had put on her vision board. And I know this because I talk with her almost every day, Going on quite a few years, we've been talking a lot, almost every day. So I watched her go through this process. And I tell people, you do the same thing. If it takes a board for you to look at every morning and feel happy about it, and then, as Jamie had said, and everybody else, you put that piece of gratitude in it, goes, man, I'm really thankful that I have these things in my life right now, and I'm looking for the next thing to come. And people ask me, what happens if you're broke right now and all you can... Then be happy and have that gratitude that you can at least pay your bills and function and know that it's going to get better.
That you woke up.
Yeah. Don't get stuck in the here and now.
Mm-hmm.
Then, once we get all of that accomplished, they have to take an action step to go forward. This is where I know a lot of us have seen people fall down. They put this beautiful vision board together. They put all this intention. They have the feeling. And then they sit on their ass in the chair and do nothing.
I did it. It's done. Now just wait.
Yes, and that's crap. You have to work with the universe. The universe will bring it to you, but you have to begin a process to help it along. The universe isn't going to just take you and magically pick you up and plunk you into a new lifestyle over here. You've got to take an action. If you're going to have a new house, start packing some small boxes and get ready to move. If you're looking and you are trying to manifest a new car, you better clear your garage out. If you don't have a place to put that new car, it's not going to get there. If you're trying to manifest something, make space in your home, whatever it is. If you're trying to save more money, then go open a bank account and put $10 in it. Give that money that's coming to you somewhere to go. Show the universe, yes, I trust you. I'm taking action.
If you don't own it, you can plant every plant you want to plant and every seed, but if you don't water it and make sure it has sunlight and light, it's not going to go anywhere.
Yep. It's extremely true. So once you start to take action.
And if there are things you don't want to manifest, you need to put something in the way.
That's it too.
That's what I'm doing.
And it is another thing with manifestation in your life, and we've all seen it. If we start out rip-roaring ready to go, and 2 weeks later we are squirrel over there, we're going to get something manifested in our life that we do not want. But you have to stay true to your vision. You have to stay true to what you're trying to accomplish. If you're going to fall back in your old ways, the universe is going to look at you and go, oh, hell, you want more of your old ways? Here, I'll give you that. And it will come. When we build our manifestation, it's the last part for me. Jamie had said it and somebody else had said it. I'll accept this or better. It's the biggest thing. If you say, I want a 2014 pink Cadillac with tan seats, leather this, air conditioning, if you make it so detailed, and then the universe brings you a light blue Cadillac with cloth seats and this, it brought you something extremely close to what you wanted. And you had your head so wrapped up in a very particular thing that you didn't see what happened. And then what happens? Everybody gets upset. Everybody gets angry. And this doesn't work. Okay. It sure as hell did work. It was extremely close to what you needed and wanted. And we need to be thankful for that when it does happen. Because then we can begin a process and say, hey, they brought me this absolutely outstanding Cadillac, and chances are it's in better condition, has fewer miles, runs better, all kinds of things. If you are then at that point wanting something different, get ready to trade that car in on something else. But always be grateful for what the universe brings you, because it will happen every single time. Okay.
Well, that's oftentimes like what Jamie was saying, this or something better.
Yes.
That cloth interior might actually be better. You don't know.
Yeah.
That might be the better part.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I didn't know it could be done that way. I had no idea. So, and sometimes you got to start off, some people sometimes have to start off small, depending on what it is you want to manifest. So to get what I do, you know, what some of my clients do is to get the energy moving with it. It's just like, say, I want to manifest butterflies for the next week. And see how many different places. You may not see a live butterfly, but you'll hear about butterflies. Something will come on TV about butterflies. They'll be in the magazine. You'll have butterflies. You just have to pay attention, and you manifested that. So that's just giving you that concrete evidence that you can manifest. You just have to
you can do it.
Be open, because there's no resistance to butterflies, but there's a resistance to the car because you don't know if you deserve it. So that's where that's where you can start to kind of train yourself on how to line yourself up so that you're open to the car, and just like you did with the butterflies. To allow yourself to be open, period. Because my biggest discussion with people is, oh, I understand what you're saying. I can do that. Then I'll turn right around and go back into the old ways. And I remind them, thoughts are things and words have power. What you're speaking, you're creating. What you're thinking, you're creating. You know, and our kids, both my children grew up with this. I have a son and a daughter. And the boy, but he's learning that if he talks in a positive way, and remember The Secret, and the gentleman did the vision boards, got married,
put them away because, sometimes our spouses don't always agree with the things that we're working on. And he had children. They bought a house and they were unpacking boxes he had packed 20 years ago or 15 years ago. And he pulled out his vision board and there was the exact house.
There
they
was.
were
Yeah.
Okay?
That was
And then,
similar to the experience that I had that Mike was talking
that's
about.
what I thought
Very
right
similar
away when you
experience.
said that.
Yeah.
And then the other one, Jeremy and Esther
Yeah.
Hicks asked, and it is given. And remember her story about being on an airplane and seeing a Persian rug that she thought was absolutely beautiful and didn't think that she could ever have anything like that. It was a little extravagant. Comes home, finds that exact same rug. Got my daughter to read The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, and it's just a day by day, step by step. And I'll tell you, that kid can manifest like nothing I've ever seen. Yeah.
My daughter can too. She's an amazing manifester. Sometimes I feel like I'm really on the fence in terms of, does the universe test us?
I think so.
When I'm trying to move in a certain direction and old stuff comes back, I have to say no to that old stuff, those old ways. And it's real easy to say yes by default because it's what I'm accustomed to. So this is where the consciousness, I go back to that keep it simple self that I shared, where I kiss it and I have to push it up into consciousness and be aware and not let it just drop with gravity and default into old ways. I got to think about what it is and then tell the universe, no, thank you. Remember, I said I want to go in that direction, not the old. And so sometimes I think those are little testers to see if I'm really awake to what I'm trying to manifest. And there are short-term manifestations and long-term manifestations, just really some of the long-term manifestations can be really hard because I've got to really hang tough and keep pushing things up into consciousness. My cafe is one of those things where one of the things that I do with myself and with clients, for example, is I will say, so if you didn't have to worry about social status, what your education is, you didn't have to worry about money, you didn't have to worry about anything, you could be whatever you wanted, what would that be? And sometimes, like for me, it was, well, I want a cafe with health food. I want to open a cafe. So then it's like, well, I can't really do that because I can someday, but not today because of finances and, it's expensive to open a brick and mortar. So I said, okay, a food truck. Well, I couldn't quite do that either. So I started doing kefir smoothies and health food out of an open trailer that I was pulling with a little Chevy Captiva. A Chevy Captiva is like along the same lines as maybe a Ford Edge. It's not supposed to pull anything. Right. And so, and it was this little bitty 5x8 trailer that I had. And I'd never driven a trailer before, had a trailer on driving before. So it was all new and you couldn't back it up because that vehicle is not meant for backing trailers up at all. It just jackknifed all over the place. But that's how I started. I got a tent. I set up tables. I got tablecloths, more and more things and stuff like that. Then I was able to finance a trailer that I was able to have electrified. So I still had my tent, but I put everything on wheels. So it rolled right off the ramp of the trailer and I set everything up and I had these rolling, really cool rolling stainless steel tables that had a shelf on them. So, I'd roll everything out. It was awesome. And had a friend of mine build me a portable sink so that I would be in compliance and all of that. And then when I came to Texas, I wasn't going to open my cafe and my friends talked me into it. So when I got here, I thought, man, I just cannot be doing the cafe the way I was. It's got to be, and I call it my mobile cafe. I don't call it a food truck because food truck is usually, although it's delicious food off the wall, I mean, off the rails, delicious, it's not real healthy. So I call mine a mobile cafe. And, a friend of mine found me a food truck trailer. So now I don't have to roll anything out, and found a spot that is permanent or semi-permanent so that I'm not hauling it all over the place and going from this location to that one to this one. So I've come pretty close in about 2.5 years. That's what it's taken me, 2.5 years. But that's a long term, I have to keep pushing it up into consciousness.
But
so
each step brought you closer. And that's the important thing.
Yep, that's the point.
If you're going from A to M immediately, it's like, oh my gosh, what have I got myself into? And this way you learn a lot of tricks, I'm sure, along the way.
Yeah, well, I did learn a lot. Didn't I, Mike?
Oh, and then some.
Yeah.
There were days, just so people know, metaphysical readers, I don't care who they are, we all have our bad days, just like everybody else. And there was a running joke with Brenda and I for a while when she had a bad day and she was going off. And I would sit and I would listen. I would talk with her and try to either help her work through something. And thank God, because she would do the same thing for me.
Right.
But the minute that we would start bitching about something, she would look at me and go, okay, you got to put your giraffe face on. And we had agreed we had to go on Facebook and change our profile picture to a giraffe, because that meant we were having an absolutely crappy day. And nobody else understood what was going on. But the minute I'd see her change her picture to a giraffe, I'm like, okay, here it comes. Or the same. But it was just one of those things to where I watched her go through all of these sets of events that in the middle of it, you would swear to God that she's getting pushed back and going to get thrown under the bus and run over. And 8 weeks later, she's like looking like a prime rose, it's just unreal in how it came about.
I think that's the other thing.
It's a ride.
Delays work in our favor sometimes. It stops us from taking a step too far or stopping, or it makes us look at things differently.
Right, but you got
and when we have to work along the way to manifest what we're working. We appreciate it so much more, and we have an even stronger love for what we're doing. When we get out on the other side of some of those things. But that's like long term, and I have not been able to open my cafe yet. It's still being worked on. My the trailer part is still being worked on. So
I'll tell you what, when you found that trailer, two things. She had just bought a brand new trailer, and it was wonderful, and she had decked it out. And I mean, she did a lot of work on this thing, okay? Put in an inverter. I mean, you would think there would not be a lot of ladies out there that'd be willing to grab power tools and do electrical work and all kinds of things. And she decked this thing out. And she told me, she goes, I found a new food trailer. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me, right?
Yeah.
You're trading it. She goes, yeah, I already did. I'm like, okay, what'd you get?
No, I didn't trade it. I now have 2 operations.
Oh, I thought you got rid of it. Oh my God.
No, I traded my truck because I needed a stronger truck. So I manifested that with 0 down too recently.
She
0 down and $12 more in a payment.
She showed me the pictures.
So that's manifesting.
She showed me the pictures of the trailer when she picked it up. And I'm kind of like, okay, it has been a food trailer that has been at fairs and all kinds of things, and it has done its work, hands down. And then she showed me the pictures after she had remodeled it. And I went, oh my God. Like she said, stainless, all kinds of things. It is ironic for me as a reader to be able to watch another reader do these things in their life. It's amazing. But it is 100% all the way around manifestation.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's a combination of all the things. I'm sorry, Jamie.
Oh, I was just going to say, touching over to where Pat said, delays are sometimes work for us, which is true, but you got to be careful with, is it a delay or are you sabotaging it because you don't feel worthy yet? You know what I mean? So there's a fine line there.
Yep.
And sometimes the delays, sometimes it's like, screw it. I'm gonna sit on the couch. That's a part of the manifestation path too, that you've got to be really aware of. And that's working with the universe. Like Mike was saying, you've got to work with it, not just kind of like, I posted something on Facebook the other day, a little cartoon meme of someone trying to manifest
I love that.
the perfect one without going out of the house, talking to anybody, but the perfect one's going to come. It's like, you've got to go out and do something for that to happen.
Yep.
Have you been talking to my daughter? Because I keep telling her Prince Charming is not going to ride up to the condo door on a white horse and knock and say, do you want to go on a date?
I have so many people that are like, I don't want to bother if he's not going to. I'm like, he's not going to knock on the door. He doesn't know you exist yet.
You exist. He's not going to know you even exist. And the delay, I try to look at them as though, why is this delay here? Have I missed something? Mm-hmm. Or are you checking to see if I'm really determined about this?
Exactly, the test. Yeah, that test feeling.
I know when
exactly.
I had turned around to write my book, I was ready and I had an initial, first few chapters of a draft done, and I was looking for an editor. Lo and behold, I asked Brenda, I said, do you by chance know anybody that's an editor? Not even, I think it was less than 24 hours, and I want to say more along the lines of 12.
2 hours, yeah. It's quick.
She gave me, contact this lady. And I did. And she's phenomenal. She has since retired to take care of her husband and some other things. But working with her, and this goes right along hand in hand, when you set your intention and your desire and you begin to take action on it and you feel that it's going to happen. This lady used to be an editor for Llewellyn Book Company. And she goes, I'm going to put you in touch with a person that does proofreading and a person that does the layout, so the book is correct, so that when you turn a page, it's all laid out correctly. I said, that'd be awesome. She goes, they also worked for Llewellyn. As a matter of fact, the layout person still works for Llewellyn. And 6 months later, I had my book done, completely done, rewritten, everything. But it all starts because you take an action.
And I watched you go through some of the same things that I went through in my cafe.
Right.
Just hitting walls and writer's blocks and, all of that stuff. But you kept at it. Those are those, what are they, Jamie? Pop quizzes?
Yeah.
From the universe. Yeah. You sure you want this?
Yeah.
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 Have you learned your lesson yet?
Yeah.
Well, it's.
Are you really done with the old ways?
Yeah.
For me, it was a perfect way. For me, it was a perfect way to say, I did one small, simple thing. I got in touch with Brenda and asked, do you know? I didn't bust my rear end. I didn't pay out and fork out a ton of cash right there on the spot. I didn't have to go out and manually lift up the car or pick up 5,000. I did not do anything excessive except take a step on faith and reach out and begin a process.
You set your intent is what you did.
Yep.
Whether you realized that was what you were truly doing. You were saying, okay, universe, I want to do this, so therefore I'm taking this step.
Yep.
Now I need a little help.
That was the action part that started this whole process going.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, Brenda. It was just, oh my God, there were days I wanted to pull my hair out.
I remember. Yep, I remember.
Yeah, giraffe.
Brenda's going to write a book about it.
The reason we did the giraffe thing is because when we'd have a bad day, it was like we'd be on Facebook, and you know how the faces come up on Facebook. So it looked like these giraffes, having this conversation, and it was actually hysterical because it looked like, the giraffes were just, I don't know. It was funny. And we had funny giraffes too. So,
yep.
giraffes were just bitching. back and forth.
Water will just like break the tension or break the
Yeah.
impasse or something for you a lot of times too. So yeah, giraffes are perfect for that because I love giraffes, but they are kind of funny looking. And to call yourself one.
I bet that also
Yeah.
helped change your attitude and your latitude sometimes, because you couldn't remain so frustrated because you had to it had to take the edge off in some way.
Yep.
And allow you to
Mm-hmm.
think differently, or look at it, hey, well, what about, and yeah.
Mm. It's kind of like
Yeah, a
walking
sense of humor through it is really important, right, Jamie?
Oh God, I've got the darkest, twisted sense of humor, but I need to so I can get through some stuff, And nobody needs to know exactly what I'm laughing at, as long as it's helping me get past what I'm getting past. It works.
Right.
Funny.
Yeah. I know there's ways that I try. It's like when I don't want to manifest the same thing, or I don't want to manifest something, I will block it. Like I'll put blocks up. Like I don't want a relationship. So Mary that's her side of the bed now. And it'll be her side of the bed for a long time. I'm not clearing that space. I'm not going to do it. It's not happening. And there are other things too. There are other things.
It's going to come.
Nope.
No room.
I so much like,
What, Pat?
I so much like the fact that you use cafe, because food truck does not fit you in any way, shape, or form.
No.
The cafe is a little mysterious and a little different, and a little bit out of the box that everybody looks at. I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, Kiefer Studio Cafe.
Yeah, because there's a mystique to it. You know what I mean? It's not another. Oh, there's another, fry wagon or
right.
Whatever,
yeah, because that's not. Yeah, I don't want to manifest that. But the thing about it is it's very interesting you bring that up, because when you're doing health food in a food truck, it's really interesting to figure out where you're going to fit in, because they're not out there everywhere. Yeah, no, so you have to manifest completely different than you would otherwise. Yeah,
that would get me stopping, because I've walked by all these other Mexican and da. And here's a cafe.
Well, I can make Mexican. I can make vegan Mexican.
I mean, just your name says she's
right.
not going to have that normal stuff. She's going to have something I'm really going to like. Really want to try.
Yeah.
I've never had the nerve to try it, but this looks pretty good. I think I'll do that. Yeah, I love it. I really do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Well, we are coming up to break time here, and yeah. And so when we come back, let's talk about, we're going to open up for questions. If anybody watching has any questions, feel free to type them in the comments, and we will answer. We're not doing mini readings, so your questions need to be on topic. And we can talk about ways that we help our clients out. Some more, or some of our client experiences. I've got a lot of fun experiences with manifestation. So we will be back in about 3 minutes.
Cool.
Divine Awakening's New Age Emporium and Healing Arts Shop. It's the largest locally owned and operated metaphysical retailer in the Sandusky, Ohio Tri-County area. Serving the Firelands region since April of 2014, they're pleased to offer a space that is welcoming, relaxing, and open to everyone. In the Emporium, you will find a variety of unique gifts, special events and services, as well as classes and workshops to soothe your mind, body, and spirit. If you're in the Sandusky, Ohio area, look for Divine Awakenings at 1006 Tiffin Avenue, Sandusky, Ohio. Their phone number is 419-502-9137. And you can find them on Facebook at /Divine Awakenings LLC.
Pardon me?
We're going live. We're back. We're back here chatting and saying we're going back live. Shh. We're back. So welcome back. We are talking about manifesting. This is our third of three in a trilogy on moving energy. So today we're talking about manifesting. And so we want to talk about how some of our experiences and stuff like that with clients, and certainly open it up. I'll be watching here to see what your questions are. And, if you have something, we'll grab the question and answer it. But first, Mike, you were talking about some things with clients earlier. And I'm wondering, tell me something about how you manifested something for yourself. I guess you talked about your book some. What else?
Cards. Talk about your cards that you did.
Oh.
Your board.
That's all right. I'll tell you the whole story because it is ironic in and of itself. Mm-hmm. I use, they're packed away. They're angel oracle cards. It's called the Oracle of the Grail Code. And Pat and I were working at a fair. Oh, Lord, Pat, this was at Avalon Inn, and it had to be a good 6 years ago.
Oh, longer than that, probably 10, Michael.
Wow. I lose track of time. But I'm sitting there. I'm a reader, and when I'm working with people at that time, I didn't use any kind of cards. I didn't use any kind of anything. And there was a man next to me. His name was William Morgan. Now, Bill is a manly man, served tours in Vietnam, wonderful, wonderful man, fantastic reader. But his table is littered with reading material and paraphernalia. I Ching, stones, Chinese sticks, cards. I can't begin to tell you, rune stones, you name it. There's barely enough room for he and one person to sit on this 6-foot round table. And he comes walking over to me. He goes, you need some cards. You need something for people to see and visualize what you're saying. I'm like, Bill, I don't read cards. He comes back. He hands me this deck, box and all. I said, well, let me pay. He goes, no, just take it. Now, the quickest side of that is Bill being, and Bill, again, is awesome. But these cards are very feminine. And the minute he handed them to me, I'm like, they're happy that they're getting somewhere new to go, because Bill couldn't work with them extremely well because they are such a feminine deck of cards. I mean, they're all built on Mary Magdalene, okay? So I started using these, and I'm like, okay. I woke up one morning at 2 o'clock in the morning and had an idea, a vision of a new reading board. And it used all of the cards. And I sat down. Now, again, thankfully, Shelley, my wife, has known long enough that when I have this look about me, I'm nowhere near my body. Somebody's hijacked me, and I'm working, and she could drop an atomic bomb next to me. It wouldn't matter. I'm sitting and I'm writing, I'm typing all this out. 2 hours later, I kind of come back to myself, and I'm looking at all these papers going, what the hell's all this? And it was for a 4-foot by 4-foot board that used all 33 cards in the deck and the exact system of how it's going to go, what every card position meant, what it was going to look like. 2 weeks later, I had the board completed, took it up to Donna Bretz's store in Sandusky, Ohio, and began reading with it. A couple weeks later, we went to Indianapolis with it. I took it with me when we went over to the fair over there. I even managed when it had to be that long ago because I brought it in the suitcase when I came out, and Brenda, you and I met out in California.
Yep.
But it was just this process of everything gelling together because I was moving very much in a spiritual fashion. It wasn't just me doing the mechanics of it. There was a lot of spiritual interaction happening to the point now where in a couple of weeks I will be doing these readings live online. Oh yeah. And it's ironic because it's coming during a point where I'm doing this show and other shows, and will have the capability. Now the thing with this board is
it's coming together. Mm-hmm.
The thing with the board is that the client decides where the cards go. I don't. I show them the card, they say where it goes, and then we do the reading. So it's a very unique kind of thing. But it was all manifested, spiritually driven, beyond belief. Right. It was huge.
What I call that that experience you had, and I think Jamie and I have talked about it before too, is that's when you're really in manifestation mode, when you get a creative surge. There is a feeling that goes along with that. And it is real similar to what Michael said. It's like, I don't know where I went, but this is pretty cool. And this is going to be here for a while. And then you can just create from that place. It's a real interesting process when you have, like a certain type of job. Like if you're an accountant, for example, and you get a creative surge, you have to manage that energy. That's really difficult to manage because, you got your analytical side and then you've got this creative surge going on. But yet it doesn't quite go away. It stays. Even when you're doing accounting or whatever that activity is. And that to me, that is, it's a feeling place, but not the same as what Jamie was talking about when you're there, like when you're in the experience of it, and what does it feel like to be there, and what foods am I going to eat? How's it going to taste? And what smells am I going to smell? And, all of those things. When you're in a creative surge, you're in that mode. And that is a really cool place to manifest from.
And don't you find it when you, Jamie, I keep thinking about you and stones, when you started working with your stones. Yep. Was that your intent, or did they just say, hey, guess what you're going to do now? But it's always for the betterment of others. It's not for us. It's not for us to gain from. Because he freaked himself out when he would I got him to do his own paradigm reading, because he does it from, and it was like, whoa, and it's just like, but I just feel like the stones were that way for Jamie. I don't know why. I feel like the stones picked you. It wasn't really your idea. It's like, hey, honey, let's go. We're going to go over here and do this now.
Yeah, pretty much.
She's been manifesting a lot, huh?
Yeah, I need a vacation. I need a vacation from manifesting, please.
Cancel.
Well, because I'm finding myself going into the sabotage thing because it's starting to kind of get overwhelming. So that's just
I need a little rest. Need a little rest. Need a little break. Slow down.
Yeah, with the crystals, I've always been. I mean, my dad's a geologist, and he used to have all kinds of rocks and everything around the house.
Okay.
And then they're just beautiful to me, and I just like them for them. And then I started getting to know stuff about them, the metaphysical side of them, and there's so much out there, and there's so much that's not real super clear. And I was just like, I just want somebody to tell me exactly what this and this, A, B, C, D kind of thing. And I manifested this certification class that I had no idea was available, with one of the best people out there to get a certification from, that I'm in the middle of now. And I'm just so excited. My house is even more full of crystals now. It's really sad. I look like a hoarder with all the crystals in my house at the moment. But it's great. And with all of that, it's brought to me a whole different brand of my own that I'm going to be creating, of services and things that combine the crystals and the reading and the coaching and everything else on certain topics. So my brain is going like 17,000 different ways, and I've got to kind of pull it back in a little bit, because I'm really good at jumping and squirrel. And is that a squirrel, or is that really what I need? You know what I mean?
That's when you just say to them, guys, please, just a little slower here, too much, too fast. Have you ever heard the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears? You probably didn't know you wanted to do this. I was like, oh, so yeah.
I had the money at the time, and just kind of all came together without me really looking for it, kind of like Mike did.
Yeah, Mike's paradigm board. Your paradigm board is your crystals.
Or even his book too. He wasn't really super looking for it. He was just kind of putting it out there.
I have a question for you.
And then there it was. Mm-hmm. Timing really matters when it comes to manifesting too. Big time. Timing is, it's like what you just said, Pat, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. Timing is everything when it comes to manifesting. And sometimes that timing isn't what we think it should be. There's a universal timing to things. And so sometimes we have to be, we're co-creating. We're not just going rogue. And once in a while, it's going to be squirrel. We're just going to want to turn away from it for a minute, and that's okay. Got to chase a squirrel once in a while, and then you come back to center and get back to it. So we have a comment and a question here from Jared Walters. So he says, manifestation for myself can be hit or miss. At times I can think of something I want and blatantly and obviously comes into fruition effortlessly. On a larger scale, when it comes to manifesting success, money, etc., on an ongoing, regular, and long-term scale, how do you prevent frustration, burnout, or from completely giving up on your intention for yourself when the universe seemingly acts against your goal? Basically, how do you overcome the roadblocks that can get in the way of manifesting?
Resistance.
Oh, gee.
That's individual resistance more than it is the universe getting in the way. It's your sense of worthiness, like Pat was talking about. You can do the little things easy, but when it comes to success with money, those are trigger points for a lot of people, where all your stuff comes up and it's like your head saying, yeah, I'm ready. But that inner person is like, no, I can't. So you just got to look at that part more.
Well, and sometimes it's accepting the universal timing of things too, that although we think it's time now, the universe is wonderfully wise and always knows much better than I do. And that is, for me, Jared, I have to say that a lot of that is acceptance, and just continuing to press on. For me, it always has come to fruition. Just maybe not in the timing that I wanted.
The more I fight with the universe on timing, I lose every time. So you might as well just give in.
How's that working out for you?
The way they want.
I have a little note on my kitchen refrigerator that my girlfriend wrote for me years ago. She does candle magic and had written a candle magic book for Llewellyn. It says, on time, ahead of time, all the time, but the universe's time, not my time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in such an instantaneous world, I want an ice cream cone. I go get in the car and I go drive someplace and get me an ice cream cone. You know, I can do that year round. But years ago, there wasn't any place to get ice cream in the wintertime. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah.
Yeah. And if your goal, like mine, is to lose weight.
Besides that.
And well, no, I know, but that would be like a long-term goal.
It could be.
Cone would be squirrel.
Yeah.
Jared, I would tell you, and because I know you somewhat, when you set your intention, was it a natural stepping evolution? Or did you go from, I'm living in a one-bedroom apartment, to manifesting a $14 million mansion? Now, there's nothing wrong with manifesting a $14 million mansion. But as the ladies had said, the inside of you is going to go, there is no effing way that's possible. And it will fight against you and cause doubt and cause other things. Now, if you truly feel, and I mean from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, that $14 mansion is correct, take the time and start closing your eyes and visualizing, walking through. What do the floors feel like in the morning? What does the sunlight in the afternoon look like coming into the foyer or the front door? If you've got a back patio, what kind of breeze is on the back patio when you're sitting on the chair, lounging, having tea, or reading a paper? If you're in the other room from where the phone is at, what does it sound like? It's trying to bring all of that into a reality so that you feel what is truly going to happen. The more that you can really feel that thing, then it really brings it in. But when you get to the frustration part, take a look at where you are currently, right now, versus where you were a year ago or 2 years ago. And I'll guarantee you that you have become better in almost every way, shape, and form and function. The times that you may not have were either you created a roadblock because you didn't want to go in that avenue, just like Brenda. She didn't want a relationship, so she didn't create a room or a space on the other side of the bed. That's not going to happen. So we intentionally and sometimes subconsciously put roadblocks up, and we don't see it as that at the time until we become so frustrated that we pull our hair out and go, what the hell? You know, but it's believing in the universe and believing in yourself to say, I'm allowed to have this. It's going to happen. I have patience and time to wait and watch it come. But again, you got to have that action step. You've got to be working with the universe and spirit to help make it happen. You can't be a person sitting on a couch going, this is magic, it's going to come. Let me turn the TV on. Ain't going to happen, ever.
I think probably the biggest key there is allowing it, that you're deserving of it, that you can have this. So on one hand, we really, really want it. On the other hand, I'm not so sure, you know. So when we were talking before about the thing I want or something the equivalent of or something that will help me to get there, like Brenda getting her truck, you know, trading for her car and to get the truck that she needs now, you know. So it's steps, but we always want to go from 1 to 9, not 1 to 4. You know.
Yeah, it actually took 3 times to get the truck. So there's the trailer, and mine is a food truck trailer now. It's a full kitchen inside. And then there's the vehicle piece. So you have to have something to pull it. And I had a great truck, but it was only a 2.7 liter. And so that I needed a V8, and I got a Hemi, and I'm in love with my Hemi. But I mean, that will haul what I need. But that is, first it was a Captiva, then it was a Pathfinder, and it was an old Pathfinder that I was hauling with. Remember that, Michael? Mm-hmm. And then the whole back end of the car went down. And then it was an F-150, but it was only 2.7 liter V6, had a tow package, but not quite. And now it's a Ram 1500. And then maybe it'll be something new next year, but it's gradual. That's the long-term thing.
I'm going to step back. I'm going to step you back a couple of vehicles even before that.
Oh, dear.
Was a Lexus that ran like hell. Was wonderful for a little while, then the transmission up and just gave her the finger. And then it was something like a little S10 truck. Yeah. Do you remember that? Little small truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, it's ironic because she was in her mind going, manifest a truck. She got the truck. Now, I will tell you flat out, not once, honest to God.
I forgot to wear something better.
Not once did I hear her bitch about that truck. What did I hear? Hey, I got a truck. I can haul things. It was gratitude. It was grateful. It was happy. Mm-hmm. Not this, oh my God, I got this piece of whatever. And like she said, she has gradually kept moving up and up and up. And the truck that she's got now is fantastic. Minus sticking in the mud with her red Ford truck. That was funny.
Yeah, that was the other truck. Yeah, we sunk that in the.
But she has gradually stepped forward with all of these things. You know, it's amazing.
So Jared writes here, he says, makes complete sense. And he also says, I do tend to be an all or nothing guy and self-sabotage when things fall short. I guess I could say I'm impatient. LOL.
Hello. That's me.
And then he comes back and says gradual. Yeah.
There's another old saying, patience is a virtue, possess it if you can. It's often found in woman and never found in man. That's an old
I disagree.
I'm totally impatient, so.
Yeah, me too. I must be a man.
That's because you're strong-willed.
I've been accused of that.
I'm not patient either.
I got red hair. I'll be like the Zodiac. I've got red hair. I don't have patience. Oh, I had red hair. But I don't know what the hell happened. I had red hair.
You could always go purple, Mike.
What's that?
So you could always go purple. I see more men with purple highlights in their hair. It's really kind of funny because usually it doesn't show, but you get them in the right light and it will show like right now.
Pat, I love you dearly, but there is no way in hell I could do that. I could not pull that off for love or money. I'm sorry.
You don't know.
AJ, my son Alex, he dyed his hair blue.
Did he?
Yeah, neon blue. Yeah, this is about 6 months ago. He looked awesome.
So you manifested a son with blue hair, Mike.
I'll tell you what. 6'2", stronger than I am, and oh my God. And blue hair. I woke up, and this kid has blue hair. I'm like, what the hell did you do? He goes, you like it? I went, yeah, actually it looks pretty damn good. But he's not afraid to do it, you know. He manifests things in his life and does what he wants. And it's ironic when the one thing that we may not have spoken about is manifesting and co-creating in a group or in a relationship. When we're in a relationship, we want X, Y, and Z. And our partner wants their set of X, Y, and Z. And these things may not connect well. Really. So we have to learn the word compromise. Mm-hmm. And we have to learn, again, the word patience.
Right.
And gratitude for what is created. Because if you get two people in a relationship that are at odds with each other in what they truly want to achieve. One guy wants to go live in the mountains and the significant other wants to live on the beach. Oh my God, there's going to be problems. Mm-hmm. You know, unless you come together and say, for 6 months we're going to live in the mountains during the summer where it's cool, and for 6 months we're going to live on the beach. Once that happens, all the magic begins. because they've come together and said, here's what we're doing together as a unified force. I hope that makes sense.
It does.
It makes total sense, which is why
Me too.
Rosemary's side of the bed, my dog gets that side of the bed. I'm not making space
Yes.
because my goals are one thing I realize is that my goals are, they're really off the beaten path. I mean, they're really off the beaten path. So,
Yeah. No, that's my dog. She's got her side. Siri, she actually comes over onto my side a lot too, but yep.
Yeah.
There's no room for someone else right now.
But you're not saying never. You're just saying the timing right now is not good.
We'll see.
Yeah, in time.
I haven't decided yet.
There's almost an excellent example. Years ago, 3-4 years, maybe even 5 by now, Shelley and I were going to go look for another used vehicle because I'm not into buying new cars anymore. You know, you buy a new car, you drive it off the lot. The minute that you do, it drops $15,000 in appreciation. Screw that. Find a nice used car, make it work. And we were saying we want a 4-door, but maybe we want a pickup truck. Or we want something that is a comfortable ride, but we need versatility. Swear to God, within a week, drove by a guy that is in town that I know, sells cars periodically. Right out front is a 1992 Buick Station Roadmaster. Huge car.
A truck with a covered body. Really.
Runs great, and it does everything that we wanted because we came together and we said, we can compromise on these things, and if we can find something in this general area, the right price, runs great. I'm still driving the thing. That's what the muffler fell off on that I had to go and replace. But it's that thing that when you work with somebody, and it doesn't need to necessarily be in a relationship. If you are working with someone in a business, if you have a business partner, the same rules apply. If you are working with a group of people, whether it's corporate America.
Like our show.
Yeah.
Like Terra Turas.
Exactly. You all have to at least have a unified vision of what's going to happen and have the same kind of feeling in order to make things step forward.
Right.
You know, I think all of us have been in corporate America, and all of us went middle finger done because we couldn't tolerate it. Because you had 80 people going 80 different directions with the flamboyant I, me, mine, and then you had some jackass as the boss cracking a whip to make a demand, and it'll never work. It works for short periods of time. But then take a look.
Well, and when we're manifesting, we gotta be mindful. We can't necessarily manifest for someone else something that is against their destiny or their life path or what they're wanting. That always has to be considered, which is, you know, one of the reasons that I personally work independently, for that reason, because then I can, you know, it's not that I'm not flexible, you know, when it comes to relationships or things like that. It's not that, as much as it is, I don't want to feel like I'm pushing my kooky stuff on someone, you know, because
you have your own agenda.
But I want to go in my direction.
Right. You have
What's
your own
that?
agenda right now. You have your own agenda, right? Things that are very important. That's why I said, don't say never. Just say.
I never did say never. I didn't.
I have a lot of.
Nope, I didn't say never, but I'm just saying for now.
Not yet. Yeah. I have a lot of friends that are into access consciousness and bars, and a lot of them tell me every morning when I get up, I should say, "Thank you, universe, for showing me something beautiful and wonderful today. And please make it so clear and concise that I can't miss it." Sometimes that's a wonderful cup of coffee, you know, someplace I've never been before. Sometimes it's I like bright, shiny things, as you can tell, my fingernails and my jewelry and stuff. And sometimes it's just finding a pretty pair of earrings at the Goodwill store that I wasn't looking for. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have to be anything big. Finding a good parking spot. I often tell my clients, you know, just ask the universe and the angels to help you find a good parking spot the next time you go to the grocery store, so you don't have to lug everything 2 miles
Right.
from your car. And they go, it's because once you open yourself up to that, then you're giving the universe the freedom to bring you things.
Right. Exactly.
That's what all
And
of
then
us-
we're back to that, yeah, universal timing and this or something better.
Just be
So
open,
we have
happy.
exactly. So we have 15 minutes left, and I wonder if we could share anybody else that got something that they helped with a client to manifest. I'm trying to think of something specific.
Well, did I talk about it? I got a call from a lady I'd read for 2 times, 15 years ago and 17 years ago. Did I tell you guys about that?
Oh, cool. No, talk.
That's when we cassette taped everything. And she called me,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was last week, and I don't remember when. And she said, I know you don't remember me. And I said, that's good because most people think I do, and I don't. We see too many people. She said, you read for me 2 times. You read for me 15 years ago, and you read for me 17 years ago. And she said, I was cleaning out some things, and she said, you told me, I knew my husband was having an affair, but I wasn't willing to, I still loved him, and I didn't think that it was the right thing to do. And you told me never divorce him. You would find me and wring my neck if I ever divorced him. And she said, that was the first time I saw you. And I thought, she's crazy. I said, well, I am a psychic, And she said, yeah, I understood that after I listened to the first tape. And she said, when I read for her 15 years ago, she said, I told her, I described how her in-laws were going to change in their attitude toward her because he's now leaving her to live with a girlfriend. And I described her in-laws to a T. You know how sometimes when you're not in good with them, they don't care so much for you anymore. And she said, again, you reiterated to me, do not divorce. It's very important that you do not divorce. Long story short, his mother died 2 years ago. And he's been living with this girlfriend for the last 13 years, I believe. And she said his mother left him a house worth almost $200,000, lots of stocks and lots of bonds. They're both retired. She's getting his Social Security because they were married for like 25 years. And now he wants a divorce. He's got the papers ready and he wants her to sign them, but he doesn't know she knows about all this stuff. And she has a bulldog of an attorney. And her female attorney told her, oh, aren't you glad you never divorced him? And she said, I listened to that tape and I sat on the floor and I laughed until I cried. Because she said, you saw something that neither one of us knew what or why. And she said, here it is, 13 years later. And everything you said is now right there. And that just cracked me. Those are the fun, when they call me and tell me, you told me, I go, is this good or is this bad? Because, and it's just, how do we know this stuff? So how would I ever have known? 17 years ago, I didn't tell her he was having an affair. She didn't ask. I knew, she saw it, but she didn't ask me to confirm, so I didn't. But that just blew my mind that, she actually didn't do it because she said every time she would think about it, something would happen and she couldn't go through with it.
Yeah.
So she's going to be rich. The attorney says she's going to be one rich lady and she's going to give up that part-time job she has to survive now.
Wow. So you did that through advice, not knowing what you were manifesting.
Yeah. Do we ever, we tell people things. I'm like, I can't believe I'm saying this. And then you find out years later, you actually was very beneficial. When people didn't know what I did when I was a realtor and a broker, I remember sitting by a lady down in Cincinnati that I knew fairly well, but not. And I said, oh, how's your daughter doing? And I didn't even know she had a daughter. And she said, well, she's got this thing going on with her throat. It's been going on for the past couple of months. And I said, maybe she ought to go to an ear, nose, and throat guy. The girl had thyroid cancer and didn't know it. And had she not gone to the doctor when she did, she would have
yeah.
I had no idea. And how many times do we do stuff like that we have no clue, but it's just this feeling that you get that you have to share that info.
Right. Mike.
I was sitting here and actually thinking while Pat was talking about that. And I remember, I want to say a young lady, but she's probably in her 30s. When you start to get into the 40s and 50s, you say young person. Pat looks at us and goes, we're all youngsters, but
Babies.
She started, I don't want to say on the wrong foot, the first time that she ever called. And I spoke with her, and we were doing a reading. And we moved away from me being the reader to more of how to manifest and how to get things done. And it was one of the first ones, and this has got to be, again, a decade ago. The first one that really rings my bell. And I said, okay, we need to work on, do you want a job more, or do you want a relationship more?
Mm-hmm.
And we had to go through a process to really understand. I said, because if you say you want the job, career, and money, but yet you're yearning for the relationship more, you're going to be self-defeating. You're going to get half of what you want. So we began to set that forward. But in the process of deciding all of these things and what she truly wanted, we set up the secondary steps that went kind of right behind it. And over the course of about 14 months, we're working on things, and we talk about once every 3 or 4 weeks, and she would say, here's how things are going, and I'm still working on it, I'm still believing. And as Jared had mentioned, she had her own times of faltering, ready to pull her hair out and say, this is bullshit, it doesn't work. And I'd say, no, it's working. Look at where you are, look how things are. Until I got this phone call, like I said, about 14 months later, and she goes, you're not going to believe this. I said, lay it on me, sweetheart. She goes, I went back and pulled out the notes and the paperwork from the first time that we ever spoke about. And I looked at what I wanted, because she finally decided she wanted the career and the money to be stable, self-supportive, in order to have a relationship that she felt good about herself to move into. She goes, I pulled out the paperwork for what I was looking for in a relationship. She goes, but I did that after this guy spilled coffee on me at the coffee shop, and we started dating. And I laughed, and I said, how close was it? She goes, out of 10 things, there was only one thing different. She goes, but I wasn't really focused on the relationship. I said, no, you were in the back of your mind, because we had already set your intention of what you wanted for the relationship, but you knew you wanted the career first. I said, matter of fact, how's your career going? She goes, I'm 2 steps ahead of where I wanted to be or where I thought I would ever get. I said, now, here's the kicker to all of it. How happy have you been in your life for the last year? She goes, minus the frustration of not manifesting what I want. She goes, overall, she goes, I've never been happier. I love my job. I love what I do. I love the people that I work with. And I said, and that's the whole key to it. Everything that you do has gratitude, has that emotion. Just like Jamie said, it's got that whole...
Right.
But it was amazing over a 14-month period to watch this happen, and then to get this phone call going, I've achieved everything that I want. This is amazing.
Right. That is fantastic.
Jamie, what about you?
I don't know, because I keep going back to predictions, which isn't necessarily manifestation, I don't think. But I guess you could say that, I don't know. Can I pass?
Yeah, well, that's why I was going to share before I asked, because I knew you were kind of, one of the things, when I read, I am what I call a creative psychic. I do predictions all the time, but mostly I'm a creative psychic, and I will tell my clients that. People know that about me up front. So I'm going to ask you those questions like, well, if you didn't have any barriers, no matter what it is, what would it be? What would it be that you'd want to achieve? And so then we start creating, and we start going, as close as we can to that goal. And then we continue and continue. And that's the way, that's my style of life coaching. And I've had a lot of clients. Not too long ago, I had somebody call back, and her manifestation, what she wanted to manifest was happiness and stability. it was, she was feeling squirrely because of, relationship and family issues that she was going through. And so, this is, really tough one, because there's a lot of mundane that goes along with it. That's not one of those things with a creative surge, but she really wanted peace, like peace within herself and in her family, and to stop the self-sabotaging patterns that had her feeling so beat down. And so I worked with her for a long time, and that's what we manifested. I worked with her for years, and she actually called me back recently, and she said, I go back through our conversations, and I say that in readings too. I said, and when you get there, you'll have hindsight, and you'll be able to come back to this conversation and go, oh, I see, and sometimes it is years down the road. Sometimes it's pretty instant, but that was hers. And I hadn't heard from her in, gosh, I bet you 3 years. And she called me, and I was like, how are you? And she says, I am doing so much better. I have, and she told me what she had manifested based in those conversations. And those conversations, it's not particularly me conversating. It's what I get and give. But I know that they were all about, along the lines of, if you want new results, you can't do the same thing. You can't do the same thing over and over and expect new results. It doesn't, you have to really make a conscious change, which is back to the keep it simple self, the KISS. You got to bring it up into consciousness and say, how am I doing the same old thing, expecting something new? Or am I really moving toward my goal? Am I stuck in fear here, or am I moving toward what I'm trying to manifest and what's holding me back? And, questions like, is this fear or is it excitement? Because those two things can run parallel, speaking of getting into the feeling places. So, a lot of times we need to identify those, the difference between some of those things. And so is my fear a reasonable reaction to what's going on, or am I in default mode? Is there like seriously danger here, or am I going on the wrong path, or is this just, sort of those stories I keep telling myself up in my head that keep me from moving forward? So learning how to discern those things, those are the things that I do with clients to help them manifest. But that was a big one.
Yeah. I guess with clients, I a lot of times they'll ask me a question. I'm like, well, I see both directions, and I see you at a fork in the road. You can have this or you can have this, but I don't know which one you're going to choose. So I guess maybe that's something I do. I don't know. But it just kind of all gets melded together for me. So it's hard for me to say, because it's the person that's manifesting it. I'm just giving advice for
showing.
Showing and saying, here's your fork in the road, and this is what life will look like this way. This is what it's going to look like this way. What are you going to do? Because they'll say, well, which one am I taking? I'm like, I don't know. That's up to you, which one you're taking.
I feel like you give them the direction. You give them, they're like all over the place. And when they're talking to you, you at least help them to focus in and maybe 3 things instead of 15.
Yeah. But I can say, if you do A, B, and C, you'll go this way. And if you do E, F, and G, you'll go this way. Which one looks better?
Right.
To,
Exactly. So which way do we want to create from? Exactly.
Which one am I going to pick? I don't know, sweetheart. You choose. I'm not taking that responsibility.
Nope. I don't like taking people's power either. I want them to manifest from their place of power always. Sometimes I can just shed a little bit of light on what that is, that they have to bring to it. So we are coming to the end here. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share before we close?
Change your attitude, if not your latitude. If you get in an attitude of happy and grateful, things get a whole lot better. I hate to hear people say, so I shouldn't say hate. I don't like to hear people say, I never win anything. I never get anything I want. Please stop saying that, because you're not going, that's what you're telling the universe I want. So say, wow, it'd be so wonderful if I could win something, or I could find, or I could enjoy. I'm going to enjoy just the next 5 minutes, not the next 5 days, just the next 5 minutes. Focus on being happy and grateful and,
Yeah. Focus is key. What you focus on is what you'll get, whether it's good or bad. Pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked a lot about focus last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any parting words, Michael?
Oh, no. I'm good. I'm not even going to step into that arena this time.
Oh.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. And we will see you next week. We're not sure what the topic is, but we'll announce it sometime, probably Sunday or Monday. So we're here every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time, live. Have a great week, everybody. See you next week.
Yep.
Bye.